There's this fascination for me to be always on the edge. I feel like I'm addicted to this idea of new beginnings and embracing new forms. This idea of an artist stepping into territory that they have never explored before, it could be both terrifying but also exhilarating. For me, I think thematically, this has been about exploring issues that I have faced as a human being, as a woman, as an Iranian woman living in exile, and yet issues that are above and beyond my own little existence. So every work that I've done, regardless of it's still photography or video or a movie, it's always about this intersection between the personal and social global, magic and realism, the conscious and subconscious, the political but mystical. My relationship to mediums has been very nomadic. And ultimately, I refuse to be defined by one style or one medium. I remember at the beginning, people were saying, oh, she's this artist who writes on her photographs as self-portraits. And I completely turned myself against that work. And I moved on to double channel projections. And then I moved on to cinema. So there is something about my nature that tends to rebel against my own signature work. However, to this date, I continue to elaborate on photography and still do calligraphy on the photographs, and they're always human portraits. Photographers are always looking for that ultimate image that could be unforgettable. And I think for me, nothing is more powerful than eyes, mouths, hands. That's been my obsession with photography, is that I find human body and posture and gesture and expression endlessly interesting. And that I was really, really interested in making work that was somehow an elaboration of classic Islamic Persian art. The new series, The Fury, which is about the sexual assault of women, particularly Iranian women in Iranian prison, it's all about the notion of rage, anger, and a lot of these images are quite painful. I felt that the expression of these ladies was so important that I didn't want to dominate it by bolder writing. In fact, the writing became very expressionistic in a way that we would write straight lines and then we would break all the straight lines, and they became almost like pastel drawings to punctuate the bruises and the emotions without possibly dominating the gaze of the woman that was so essential to the image. What the writing does is, I would say, adds another 50% of expression, of a voice, of the rage, really. The majority of the texts that I use are by very few Iranian women poets like Forough Farrokhzad. And what I think we all love about Forough Farrokhzad is in her poetry, how she's able to speak about all kinds of social, political, religious, traditional taboos, but yet transcend the Iranian society, to write in a way that resonates across the board, universally. I think enigma is a fundamental part of experiencing art. The greatest work of art have to have a certain level of mystery, where an audience feels something guttural, emotional, and intuitive that they can't quite describe. And you feel something extremely strong, but you're not exactly sure because maybe you're not even from that part of the world. You're not even understanding the cultural nuances, but there's something like a knife in your stomach. I mean, I think this is what I'm after, is as someone who's been away from her country forever and has lived longer in the West than in my own country, how can we cross these cultural boundaries? Because ultimately, we're all human beings, and there's a great amount of suffering and pain and emotions, good and bad, that exists in all of us. So how can we, within all these specificities that someone like myself puts in front of you, see yourself within that story or that image?